Forgiveness and suffering is the action of being forgiven or forgiving and the state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. These are around the teachings of rituals of all religious traditions. These issues are mentioned in the religions of Catholic, Christianity, and Judaism. These teachings are heavily spoken about in Catholicism with the sacrament of reconciliation, which reflects the issue of forgiveness. To reconcile means to restore a relationship that has been injured or broken. This sacrament consists of three elements: conversion, confession, and celebration. Conversion entails both God's forgiveness and reconciliation with the Church, which are expressed and accomplished by the sacrament of penance and reconciliation. The element of confession is called this since the disclosure or confession of sins to a priest is an essential element of this sacrament. The celebration in which the sacrament holds includes a greeting and blessing from the priest, reading the word of the Lord to illuminate the conscience and elicit sorrow, and an appeal to repentance. This sacrament in the history of the Church began in the 1st and 2nd centuries, where forgiveness was only to be received once. Then in the 3rd and 5th centuries, the formal ritual for sin was developed and was only to be reserved for major sins. Also, it could only be withheld for people between 3 to 15 years. Later in the 6th and 9th centuries, public penance shifted to the practice of private confession. In the 12th and 13th centuries, a pattern for reconciliation developed that consisted of confession, contrition, absolution, and satisfaction. Next, in the 16th century, confession or penance was declared a sacrament of the Church at the Council of Trent. Lastly, in the 20th century, in 1973, the revised sacrament was announced and promoted the three rites in which it may be celebrated today. Reconciliation believes in forgiveness. It has to do with the issues of forgiveness, as if we forgive someone, we need to be open to reconciliation if possible. Reconciliation is forgiveness in action. Judaism deals with forgiveness with its own Day of Atonement called Yom Kippur. This day is one of the most important days of the Jewish year. It is a day set aside to afflict the soul, to atone for the sins in the past year. The first Yom Kippur took place after Moses returned from his second trip to Mount Sinai with the replacement set of tablets containing the 10 Commandments. Leviticus said, "In the 7th month of the 10th day of the month, you shall afflict your souls, and you shall not do any work." Yom Kippur is essentially your last appeal and your last chance to change the judgment. Rosh Hashanah is essentially the Jewish New Year. This day has many rituals, including the blowing of the shofar, a ram's horn trumpet. 100 notes are sounded in a special rhythm. The sound of the shofar starts the 10-day period known as the Days of Awe. This day started when Leviticus said, "On the 7th month, on the first day of the month, there shall be a Sabbath for you, a remembrance with shofar blasts, a holy convocation." This day is linked with issues of forgiveness, as the new year is not about making resolutions, it's about looking back at the mistakes of the past year and planning the changes to make in the new year.
This is